Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
The information, audio, and visuals you are about to see are intended to provide details of an officer-involved shooting which occurred on April 20th, 2022 at approximately 12:20 a.m. in the 1600 block of Plans Road. An investigation, law, and details which are equipped with body encompass the entire view. Are known and the investigation footage of all officer involved. This video may contain strong. On April 20th at 12:20 a.m., a Bakersfield Police Department 2-officer patrol unit attempted to conduct a traffic stop on a maroon Chevrolet Tahoe, which was driving recklessly in the area of South H Street and Plans Road. The vehicle also matched the description of a recently stolen vehicle. The suspect vehicle immediately failed to yield and accelerated away from officers. Within seconds, the driver appeared to lose control of the vehicle and it struck a pole on the south side of the 1600 block of Plans Road. The driver and a passenger in the Tahoe immediately exited the vehicle and the passenger began to run southbound into Plans Park. The investigation revealed that the suspect fired 2 times at the officer while being pursued and within several feet of the officer. The officer dove into some bushes, which are on the park's eastern border, before returning fire. The following body-worn camera footage is from the involved officer. It begins as he pursues the fleeing passenger through the park. The other officer stays with the driver of the Tahoe and takes him into custody.
Alright, so right off the bat, let's see if I can pause this just right. Back it up. Alright, this is probably the best freeze frame I can get. So right off the bat, you don't hear any audio. That's normal for body cameras that have an event buffer built into it. So body cameras, they don't actually actively record the entire time it's being worn. You have to press a little button to make it start recording. But up until you press that little button to make it start recording, it kind of, in a way, is recording, and it is able to show you up to 30 seconds or 60 seconds before you hit that record button what was going on. They don't go any further than that, or else, the battery on it would die a lot quicker, and you'd run out of space on it. But it does have the pre-event buffer recording on there that is basically a never-ending cycle of record, delete, record, delete, record, delete. So that way, when you hit the event button to actually start hard recording, it includes the last 30 seconds of video. So that's what you're seeing right here. Now, right off the bat, this officer is running with a taser in his hand. I don't like that one bit. Not one bit at all. Especially after the fact that you're dealing with a vehicle that has matched the description of a stolen vehicle. It has tried to flee and evade and is wrecked out. Now you're chasing someone. Too many times we've seen in incidents where a suspect immediately turns and shoots at an officer. That's not the thing that you want in your hand if someone was to suddenly spin around and start shooting at you. You do not want a taser in your hand. Now, if there's 2 of you running and you're both chasing the same person, and so long as you're both able to kind of keep pace with each other, then I think it would be perfectly acceptable for one officer to have a taser drawn while the other has lethal drawn. You should always have lethal cover out until someone else is there, and then either they can provide less lethal cover or they can provide lethal cover and then you can go to less lethal. But if you're all by yourself, the only damn thing that needs to be in your fucking hand is a gun, not a taser.
You! Get on the fucking ground! He's not apart. Back. Blue jeans, bald head. Hey, stop reaching for your waistband! Stop, or I'm gonna squeeze you! Stop! Get on the ground!
And he has already told him, do not be reaching in his waistband. But yet he still has his taser out. Monumental fail right there.
I'm gonna On the ground.
Right.
5x4 908. Shots fired. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Man, that's fucking close. Alright, so this dude, you can see him. He's running away. This officer shoots. And he continues to shoot until he goes down. I see no problem with this whatsoever. None. The conditions have been met to where he is legally covered to do this. Tennessee versus Gardner. This is a dangerous, violent fleeing felon who is a danger to other people. He has shot at a police officer. He's attempted to murder this police officer. If this dude comes into contact with someone else, this officer has the reasonable belief that this dude could take a person hostage or could shoot someone in a car to try to steal their car or whatever. This dude has proven himself to be a clear and present danger to society. He is armed with a gun. Even though he has his back turned, it is fucking green light to shoot that motherfucker. So this officer is doing the right thing. This officer is not just only acting in his self-defense, but he is now acting in the defense of the community. He's acting in the defense of fellow officers who this guy may come across. He's protecting people in the neighborhood who this guy could come across. So I have no problem whatsoever with him shooting this dude as he's running away and shooting him in the back. A lot of people seem to have some fucking problem with people being shot in the back. I don't see what the big deal is. I don't even got a problem with it. And one thing I like to bring up too when people talk about that, just to see, especially if they're really adamant about, oh, it's wrong to shoot someone in the back, it's wrong, blah blah blah. The one thing I like to bring up, just to see how quickly it changes their mindset or their way of thinking, is I'll say, well, what about an active shooter in a school? What if you came across an active shooter in a school, a little elementary school, and you come around the corner and some dude's got his back turned to you, but he's fucking shooting at kids? Is it wrong to shoot that person in the back at that point? Usually that's when I'll start to see the gears kind of moving in their head, and then they come up off this fucking bullshit mindset that it's wrong to shoot someone in the back. If they still think it's wrong to shoot someone in the back, then they're just fucked up, man. There ain't anything I or anyone else can do for them. They're just a fucked up individual. But yeah, some people have some type of problem with this. I don't. Obviously, the Supreme Court does not have a problem with this, or else it would be completely illegal and there would be no exemptions for this. Now, someone who's been pulled over for a speeding ticket or something like that, and they just took off running, no weapons or nothing like that, yeah, obviously, it's not right to shoot that person in the back. But someone like this, who has tried to murder a police officer and is still running with the gun in their hand, yeah, 100% green light moment to light their ass up. So we see this officer, we can't see him, but you can see his shadow. So I want you to pay attention to his shadow. It does not look like he's gone to slide lock. It doesn't, just from the shadows, it doesn't look like slide lock. So it looks like he's doing a proactive magazine change.
498. Shots fired. Shots fired. 5x4 998. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Well,
5x4 998. Shot.
Well, I'll take that back. That may not have been the magazine. That could have been his flashlight. I'll have to go forward to see the rest of this. I have not seen all this video in its entirety yet. The very beginning of the series, I would always watch the videos completely and watch them multiple times and then do the commentary. That just takes forever. So what I've been doing here lately is I've just been saying, fuck it, let's do it live, so to speak. And I'll watch it for the first time and do the commentary on it. So I may have to go back on what I initially thought I believed I saw was him doing a magazine change. It might be him dropping his light out of his hand.
Shots fired! Shots fired! He's got a gun in his hand. 5-4, I got one down. Expedite medical aid. Male, Hispanic, bald head.
Officers and responding medical aid provide.
Yeah, watching it again, I think it actually might be his flashlight that he drops out of his hand. Because I can't see anything that looks like he reaches up and puts a new magazine into the gun. This is actually something that gets captured on camera quite often, is an officer will have an object in their non-dominant hand, and then they'll draw their gun with their dominant hand while still retaining that object in their non-dominant hand. They'll try and put their hands together like they've been trained to in firearms training to get a two-handed grip. Obviously, the object in their hand prevents them from getting a two-handed grip, but they will still try to shoot. So a lot of times you'll see flashlights in someone's hand, or you'll see a portable radio in someone's hand. They'll try to marry those two hands together and shoot. Now looking at it again, I think that's possibly what's going on, is he had the flashlight in his hand during this encounter. He returned fire. Then he, right after returning fire and observing what's going on with him, he quickly realized, hey, I've got this thing in my hand that's preventing me from getting a really good two-handed grip. Like, I just fired a bunch of fucking rounds at this guy and I didn't get him with the first couple. Like, oh shit, my aiming's off. Why? Because I ain't got a good two-handed grip. So I think he dropped that handheld flashlight just to get it out of his hand. Now, that's something I will advocate for. If you've got something in your hand that is not conducive for that gunfight, get rid of it. Jettison it from your hand, because it's not going to help you get a good two-handed grip on that gun. Now, the only time that changes is when you're having to utilize your backup light to fight with. So, I should back it up and say that all guns should have weapon-mounted lights on them. All guns should have weapon-mounted lights on them. And if your weapon-mounted light goes down, you should have a backup light on you to be able to fight with, to be able to go into your basic quintessential low light tactics. That are the fundamentals. They are the iron sight equivalent of light for low light tactics. Doing the Harry's carry and the cigar technique, the FBI technique, whatever. Using it with a handheld. That's the only time that obviously you shouldn't, jettison something out of your hand, because at that point it's pretty damn crucial, because your weapon-mounted light is down for whatever reason. So, other than that, you got a weapon-mounted light. Even if you do have a flashlight in your hand, a patrol light, but you got a weapon-mounted light on your gun, you should go ahead and get rid of that you should go ahead and get rid of that handheld flashlight, because it's not going to do you any good. You're not going to be able to get a good two-handed grip on your gun and deliver incapacitating rounds on target. Get that good two-handed grip on that gun, activate that weapon-mounted light, and do work.
Five by 498. Shots
Based off the shadow of the gun, it does appear as though he might have a weapon-mounted light.
fired. Shots fired.
But I'm not seeing anything that indicates to me that he's activating that weapon-mounted light. Within this realm right here, it is super dark right here in front of him. If he had a weapon-mounted light, we should be able to notice it.
He's got a gun in his hand.
Has a weapon-mounted light, because you can see their light shining on him.
5 by 4, I got one.
Now, why is he not activating his weapon-mounted light? One, he doesn't feel like he needs to. He feels like there's sufficient amount of light that he doesn't need it. B, his batteries are dead and they don't fucking work. Or C, it took a hit in this gunfight potentially. Or he's using an inferior design, like an O-light or something like that. And it's a piece of shit and it's broken on him. And it's just not working. So in that scenario where your weapon-mounted light has failed, you've ditched your patrol light, well, what do? Well, that's why you carry an emergency backup light. So that technically means you'll be having 3 flashlights on you. One mounted to your gun, one that you use for utility purposes, and a third one is for gunfighting only. Emergency light. So, the adage of 1 is none, 2 is 1. So, that comes into play. Now, I don't know specifically, why he's not activating that light. Like I said, it could be one of those number of things that prevents it from working, or he thinks he doesn't need it, or he's just not recognizing the fact that he can be utilizing it. It's just not a second nature thing to him. He just hasn't activated it yet. And that could be a training kind of issue where he just hasn't gotten that muscle memory, so to speak, to always automatically pop that light on when aiming at the target.
One down. Expedite medical aid. Male, Hispanic, bald head.
Officers and responding medical aid provided aid to the suspect. However, he was declared deceased at the scene.
Well, good.
Cellular telephone footage from bystanders in the park was recovered.
Oh shit, he got some burner on him, bro. Bro, he got some burner, bro. Bro, he got some burner, bro. Oh. Bro, he's about to shoot that cop, bro. That nigga had a burner on him, bro. They about to kill this nigga.
We're at the skate park. This shit's happening right now. That fool tipped up. Yeah, he's running hella slow. That cop can't even catch him.
Told you, bro. I told you. Fuck.
Alright, so I'll back it up. So they could see that this dude had a gun, but they did not yell out, he's got a gun. So fuck these guys. They could see that this dude had a fucking gun. The right thing to do would be to yell out, hey, he's got a gun. But instead they don't.
I told you. Fuck.
Oh shit, did you hear that shit?
The suspect's firearm was recovered, as well as 2.
Fuck.
Oh shit, did you hear that shit?
So, if you see that there's about to be some gunplay involved, don't stick around. Take cover. As these two fucking idiots really quickly found out, oh shit, bullets are coming towards us. Yeah, that's what happens in a 360-degree environment. You can be right in the path of a bullet. Just because people are running in one direction doesn't mean that they can't change direction. It doesn't mean that bullets can't start coming your way. If you're out in public and you happen to see something like this, like police chasing someone, even if you don't see a weapon out, you need to consider the fact that it could turn kinetic at any moment. And if rounds start popping off, do you really want to be standing out in the middle with your fucking phone trying to record something? No. Hell no, you don't. You want to be behind cover where things can stop bullets. If you're standing out in the wide open, your dick flapping in the wind, and you got your phone out, yeah, bruh, and you're recording, in a way, I kind of think you deserve to get shot. Like, you're fucking stupid. That's like being around a fuel truck that's on fire, and then you're trying to record it as the firefighters are spraying water at it. Get the fuck out of there. Like, that damn thing could blow at any moment. You have no idea. Why the hell would you want to be there in the event that they're not able to put enough water on it to keep it from going fucking bloody on you? Like, no. Get the hell out of there. People are so stupid sometimes. Like, they're so fucking ignorant that it really amazes me that out of the millions of years of evolution, they are what is to show for their lineage. Like, as we were evolving, some of us got ate by the saber-toothed tiger. Some of us ate the forbidden berries and died of food poisoning. Like, there was some trial and error shit along the way. Some of us died because we were too stupid. There were bloodlines along the way that no longer exist because they were too fucking stupid to stay alive. And here we are, 2022, and we still have stupid people like this who are still alive. Like, how have they not accidentally murdered themselves by now is beyond me. Like, it really bewilders me sometimes.
The suspect's firearm was recovered, as well as 2 spent cartridge casings.
Oh, I already know what they're going to say. Ghost gun. You can tell by the trigger frame on this thing. This is one of those polymer 80 guns. So let's hear him say it. You gonna say it? Come on. You know you want to say it.
No one else was injured.
What?
This is an ongoing investigation. Conclusions about the involved officers' actions with regard to law and department policy will not be made until all facts are known and the investigation is complete. The Bakersfield Police Department's use of force policy at Bakersfield,
So
no one else was injured.
So usually, when it comes to these ghost guns in California, these California agencies just love saying, ghost gun, ghost gun, ghost gun. So I'm really surprised in this video that they did not take the opportunity to mention that this is a ghost gun. It very closely resembles a Glock, but it's not a Glock pistol. Glock doesn't have anything that looks exactly like this. Now, these polymer 80s, to my knowledge, they're based off the Glock Gen 3 design, and so they very closely resemble a Glock Gen 3. For example, this slide very closely resembles that of a Glock. Even the frame to some extent, especially with the position of the pinholes right there and the little slide stop or takedown, whatever the fucking name for that damn thing is, that right there. And the trigger itself, the safe action looking trigger. So it looks very similar to a Glock, but it's not a Glock. So these ghost gun companies, this one I believe, like I said, I think it's called Polymer 80. So you can buy this frame as a kit, and according to the ATF, just this part right here is the gun. Alright, so like you see this line right here where the slide can detach from the frame. Gun people are going to know what I'm talking about. If you're a non-gun person, then trying to explain this to you may be a little bit difficult. But this top piece right here, you can see it's separated by this line. You can take this gun apart, and this will completely come apart from this lower half right here. Right? So this lower half right here is what the ATF considers to be the firearm when it comes to a pistol. So if you go to a gun store and you buy a complete lower, you have to fill out paperwork for that. If you go to a gun store and they just happen to have the top part right here, like this little slide, or they have just the barrel, or even if they have the whole fucking assembly, the whole top part, that's not considered a firearm. So you don't have to fill any ATF paperwork out for that. All right? You with me? So these companies, these ghost gun companies, they sell this lower piece right here, but they don't sell it in a complete package where you can attach the top thing to it and it starts working. You have to do stuff to it to make it work. And one of the things that happens when you buy these things is these two little holes are not there when you buy it. It is completely filled. There are no holes there. You have to make those holes yourself. So you buy the kit, you get this piece of plastic that's, just like this. You don't have these two pins there. You ain't got that thing in there. You don't have a trigger in it. It's just this piece right here. It comes with that. It comes with this little jig set that you place it into it, and it holds it in place where it don't move around or anything. And it has these guide holes that are perfectly positioned right above where the holes are going to be. And then you can take a drill press and you can drill your own holes into this frame. And then, after you've drilled those holes, you can take a parts kit and drop the trigger down into it, take this top piece, and of course, add that thing in there too. Take this top piece, attach it, and then you have a working gun. The reason why they sell them like that is so that they don't have to go through that bullshit paperwork process. And because this is, when they sell it like that, it's not a registered firearm, there's no need to put a serial number on that. So there's hundreds of these lower part frames that are sold. There's no numbers on them whatsoever. Now, anti-gun people seem to think that that really means something, that if it has a number on it, it's somehow going to help things. I don't really understand that idea. I don't get that concept. Even guns right now that have serial numbers on them that are being used by criminals, what fucking difference does it make if it has the serial number on it? It's not like it makes the gun even deadlier than what it is. The only added benefit of a serial number is if the gun is stolen. Then because if you take, for example, a Glock 17 Generation 3, how many Glock 17 Generation 3s are there out there? I don't know, thousands, maybe millions. I really have no idea, but there's a fuck ton of them out there, and they all look the same. How many Panasonic flat screen televisions of a particular model, model 123 ABC, how many of them are there out there? How many Xboxes are there out there? I have no idea. But there's a lot, and they all look the same. So that's why manufacturers put serial numbers on them. So they can internally be able to identify when that one particular item was made, if it was made within this batch of a run that was made, and there's defaults with it, like, hey, here's a recall, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And if it happens to get stolen, well, it's a nice way to be able to differentiate between this black Xbox and this black Xbox, or this Glock 17 Gen 3 and this Glock 17 Gen 3. It lets you know, hey, this is the difference between these two, the numbers. Other than that, there's really no benefit to there being a serial number on the gun. It doesn't help prevent crime in any way. But the anti-gun crowd really, really, really seems to think so. And they're very adamant that guns should have serial numbers on them. And they hate these ghost guns because there's no serial numbers on them. So what does that tell you about the anti-gun crowd? They want a national database for guns. They want a national database so that all guns are traced and are connected to who has possession of them. That's what they want. They don't always come out and publicly say that, but that's what they want. They also don't a lot of times say, hey, we want to take all the guns. They like to, a lot of them like to come up with this, we don't want to take all your guns. We don't want to take your guns. We just want sensible gun laws. No. If you talk to them long enough and you social engineer that shit out of them, they'll tell you the truth. They'll they'll let it be known they want all the guns to be taken, and that's really the only benefit, other than being able to identify which gun is yours if it's stolen. The only other benefit for the anti-gun crowd, and that's their biggest benefit, is it would be nice when they get to implement a national gun registry. So, and if you haven't figured it out, a national gun registry would be bad. Like, that would be something that somebody like Hitler would love to have had. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, imagine, if Hitler had a national gun registry and was able to identify every Jew that had a gun. How much easier would it make it for someone like that to take all the guns from the people that you want to commit genocide against? Yeah. So, like, all these, and most of these anti-gun people are 100, almost 100% anti-Trump. And they all seem to think that Trump is the next Hitler. So why the fuck would these people want a national gun registry that somebody like Trump could end up using against them? Like, oh, here's all these people who have guns. Let's go take them from them. Because we know exactly who they are, exactly where they live, and exactly how many fucking guns they got, and what model of gun they got. Your government should never know exactly how many guns you've got or what guns you got. All they need to know is you got guns. Actually, they don't even need to know that you got guns. They just have to suspect that you got guns. Because that in of itself keeps their fucking ass in line. Going back to the Hitler thing. If the Jews were armed back in World War II, it would not, history would not have turned out the way it did. You would not have people being dragged out of their homes and put in a fucking rail cars that were mobile gas chambers. You would not have people being dragged into gas chambers like that. It may have happened to some degree, but as widespread as it happened, that would not have happened if they were all armed. But what happened to them? They were disarmed over time. Yeah, they did have guns at one point, but over time, through legal actions, legislation, they were widely disarmed. In history, time after time, the population that ends up having their weapons taken away or don't have weapons to the same similar degree as their government, they end up becoming victims. You end up seeing a lot of genocide occurring. An armed country is a free country. So, fuck a gun registry. Now, take note on the ammo that he's got. He's got hollow points there. So, some criminals will actually get decent stuff, but it's not because they've actually taken the time to study things. They're just smart enough to see that, like, hey, hollow points are better than Full Metal Jacket. I should get hollow point. But they don't really 100% know why one is better than the other. Like, they couldn't get into a debate with you about, the merits of this, or, the pros and cons of this and that. But some of them do end up picking good ammo. They may knowingly choose that. Like, they purposely got that ammo because they knew it was good. A lot of times when they steal the gun, it's just whatever came in the gun. And at that point, whoever had initial ownership of it would determine, if it had good ammo in it or not. There's sometimes where you'll see a stolen gun and it has what's known as duty grade ammo in it, or self-defense grade ammo in it, like nickel plated the casings in the hollow point. That's a clear indication that that's probably the ammo that was in the gun when it got stolen. So the person who initially owned it was mindful enough to have good ammo. They were just fucking stupid in how they stored their gun. The criminals, on the other hand, if they steal a gun and it has no ammo in it, they're going to find whatever ammo they can get their hands on a lot of times. And that a lot of times boils down to whatever's cheap or whatever has been stolen and is of higher quantity. And a lot of times, the cheaper stuff ends up being Full Metal Jacket. You can go get a 50 round box, a 100 round box of Full Metal Jacket for a pretty good price. This ammo, you can get a 20 round box and it costs over $20. So you're basically paying $1 a round. Sometimes people don't want to pay those prices, and so they look at that 20 round box and see the box is priced for over $20, and then they look at this 50 round box and see that it's about $20. They're like, oh, I get more ammo for less money. Yeah, I'll go with that. And that's their motivation behind why they got the ammo in their gun, is because it was cheaper. But there are some, like I said, that they understand that hollow point is better than Full Metal Jacket, and they'll get that. But they don't really understand fully why it's better. They may have the idea, like, oh yeah, because it expands. But beyond that, like, they couldn't carry on a debate or talk about the pros and cons of them. They just know that it's better. And so that's one thing that that needs to be thought about, is the ammo. They could be having good stuff in there. AR pistols is another thing that is a very popular thing being used by street criminals. AR pistols and AK pistols. They love the fucking things. And, of course, these things end up getting stolen. And also, Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a game where you see the AR-15 in it most commonly, and all these guys will play, Call of Duty and shit like that. And one thing that is mentioned a lot is the M855 ammo, the SS-109s, the green tips, the thing that has the little steel penetrator inside of it. That's referenced a lot, in video games and stuff like that. And it's something particular that they take note of, and you'll hear some of them talk about, I got those green tips. Like, they understand that there's something unique about the green tips. Right? But they don't fully understand what the fucking huge difference in it is. They can't go into a debate or talk about the pros and cons of M855 versus M193 or any of that shit. They just know that there's something unique about green tip. They may know that there's a steel penetrator inside of it, and just based off of that alone, they may think that gives it some way extra armor-piercing capability. Like, they may have some grandiose thinking in their head that this fucking M855 round is going to rip through a fucking tank or something. They just don't they don't understand the terminal ballistics of it or anything like that. And there's actually a lot of gun people who are like that too. And these are typically people who buy the guns and leave them in their cars. They understand that there's a difference. They understand that there's something unique about those things, but they just don't understand all the intricacies of it. They haven't studied the terminal ballistics. They haven't looked at, different testings and stuff to really fully understand, why is an M193 more beneficial in this rifle setup with this barrel length and this twist rate versus why is this heavier grain bullet better at this barrel length and twist rate. Like, they don't understand that stuff. They don't nerd out like that. They just know that the green tip stuff is unique and there's something special about it, and it sets it apart than all the other stuff. And usually the thing that they know about it is it has that little steel penetrator in it, and they falsely believe that means that damn thing is going to zip through anything. It's not, but they don't really know that. They think that. Now, with that being said, since that AR-15 is such a popular, or the AR pistol is such a popular thing to be found in the streets by criminals, and because they do like to get the green tips on it, that's something that needs to be thought about. And I've talked about this before in other videos about my predictions on how I think body armor is going to change for law enforcement in the next decade or so. But with AR pistols and AK pistols becoming a more common thing out there, two things I believe are going to happen. One, this quote-unquote loophole is going to go away. Like, we're not going to be able to have AR pistols anymore. It's going to be a straight up, you're going to have to fucking file for an SBR tax stamp on it. That's going to happen. And then B, it's going to cause a paradigm shift in how law enforcement agencies out there are armoring up. From the 80s, actually a little bit before the 80s and on, it's just been level 2 and level 3 armor, just soft armor. That works great for the most common threat caliber that was for that time frame. So level 3A can protect against 44 Magnum. Who the fuck carries a 44 Magnum anymore? I don't know anybody that carries 44 Magnum anymore. It's great for stopping 357 Magnum. Who the fuck carries 357 Magnum anymore? I don't know anybody that carries 357 Magnum anymore. Now, just because I don't know anybody that carries that shit doesn't mean no one carries it at all. But that's not the most common shit carried anymore. Like, no one's walking around with fucking revolvers as much as they are with semi-auto pistols. So, yeah, it's really great that our armor can stop 44 Magnum and that shit, but the most common cartridges now are changing. So, used to be, back in the 80s, 5.56 and 7.62 was not a very common cartridge on the streets. Motherfuckers had 38 specials, they had 357s, the 44s, 9mm, shit like that. 45. Those are common things found. So, if those are the most commonly things found on the streets, well then yeah, why go to an armor level well above that? There is no need for it. Now, it is very common to see an AR pistol, AK pistol on the streets. So, or an AR-15 or AK on the street. So now, the most common cartridges are starting to include 5.56 and 7.62. Soft armor don't stop that. You take even the lamest projectile option for those, just a soft lead projectile, no jacket on it or anything, just a regular lead projectile, soft nose projectile. It'll punch right through soft armor like a warm knife through warm butter. Go right fucking through it. So, of course, when you start getting full metal jacket and you start getting those green tips, yeah, that's just going to zip right through fucking armor, no fucking problem. It'll probably go through the front panel, through the person, and maybe even out the back panel. Like, it'll zip right through. So, I foresee law enforcement over the next decade or so changing out armor, soft armor, for hard armor, or a hybrid, so to speak. So you already see that with some agencies. They're rocking plate carriers on patrol, or they've got a soft carrier with rifle plates in it, and that's a normal setup for them for patrol. And the company Safe Life Defense has this new, or not new armor, it's a newer kind of armor, called FRAS, F-R-A-S, Flexible Rifle Armor System. It is like soft armor in the sense that it's flexible and can have good full wraparound versus just a plate that you wear on your chest. So it wears like soft armor, but it works like hard armor. It stops rifle cartridges. So I will actually foresee in the next decade or so armor manufacturers going to that style of design, and that becoming the norm within law enforcement. And 3-4 decades from now, I think it's going to be only these small, poor agencies that are still using soft armor, and these agencies that have better funding are going to be using these flexible rifle type armor systems, even though that's a proprietary terminology for that company, Safe Life. The only other way I can describe it is like hybrid armor. It wears like soft armor, but it works like hard armor. So I see that being a change within the next decade or so, because of the fact that there's more rifle cartridges being found on the streets. Anyway, kind of went off on a rant there. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.